Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Chito Vera recently blasted Petr Yan after Yan allegedly refused to fight him. In a recent tweet, Chito Vera told Yan not to call him out and then not to take the fight. To this, Petr Yan replied telling Vera that if he wanted to fight the best, he could wait till September or October. To this, Chito replied saying September or October doesn't mean September. What do you guys think? Will Yan be up for another title shot with a win over O'Malley, or will he face number 5 ranked Chito Vera? Let us know in the comments below. In a recent interview, Islam Makhachev reveals what he wants to accomplish before he moves up to the welterweight division. Here's the clip.
What do you need to accomplish in the lightweight division before you say, okay, it's time? Whenever that might be, 1 year, 2 year, 10 years, what do you need to finish at lightweight first?
I need to defend this belt like minimum 3-4 times, and when I see some, some situation in my division, like I don't want to like Kamaru, he beat again like same opponents. I don't want to this. I'm gonna try to fight other division for my legacy,
What do you guys think about the possibility of Makhachev fighting at welterweight? And who would you like to see him face off against in the division? Let us know in the comment section below. Charles Oliveira reveals that he had eye surgery, which helped correct his vision, and now his eyes are 20/20. I had the surgery, and my eyes are now 100% perfect. I can see everything now. I'm going to knock Islam out in the first round, then we are going to celebrate. To beat Islam, I need to be myself. I'm going to give my best performance, and I will take my belt back. On a recent episode of the Weighing In podcast, Big John and Josh discussed Tyron Woodley's call out to Nate and Nick Diaz. Here's the clip.
What do you think about that? I'm just going to be honest. Look, I love Tyron Woodley, and I don't ever want to say anything that is disrespectful in any fashion. But as a boxer, no one cares. And when you lost to Jake Paul, you lost him the first time, it was a decision. The second one, that was definitely not a decision, and that was you got starched. And at that point, just like what you've just been talking about, Josh, boxing wise, you have 2 losses and no wins. Do you think someone's going to have pay-per-view money for you? That's not happening. Okay. So the real thing is, you could look at the Diaz brothers, and I don't blame Tyron for pulling out those names, because they at least, have people that will pay money to watch them fight. But right now, Tyron's the B side of that, and he is definitely not going to be pulling in any numbers. No one cares. I love the fact if he made money in the Paul, 2 fights with him and stuff. God bless him for making that. But boxing is not going to be where he's going to be making millions of dollars. If someone is telling him that he's going to get millions of dollars, in a fight boxing wise, he better be fighting someone that everybody else wants to see that person. I'm just being honest.
What do you guys think about Big John's comments? Was he a bit harsh on Woodley, or was he speaking facts? Let us know in the comment section below. In a recent tweet, Conor McGregor promises to end Floyd Mayweather if they ever agree on a rematch. Here's what McGregor posted to Twitter. You have way more venom than Floyd. I beat Floyd if we rematch. Untold truth, it was me who carried him in the early rounds by playing pity-patty. Every single shot I threw early landed. From body to head, I was playing ping pong. I come out full force, and today I end Floyd. Daniel Cormier and Ryan Clark preview this weekend's UFC main event between Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev. Here's what the pair had to say.
Can't wait to travel across the world to go see it. RC, I don't want to go nowhere. I'd rather just stay at my house, but I'm going 18 hours to Abu Dhabi to watch this one, and I can't wait.
Listen, that's going to be an 18-hour trip that I think is going to be well worth it. DC, just watching you on detail, listening to you during the fights, man, like you understand the techniques and the things that these fighters are thinking sometimes before we even see those things play out in the octagon. When you look at the styles of these 2 fighters and where they want this fight to take place, who do you think is able to impose their will the most and get the fight where they want it? And where is that going to be? Does this become a grappling match? Is it a striking match? I guess essentially, where does this fight take place?
I think they're pretty evenly matched all around, if I'm being completely honest with you. But if there's any dominance, it would be Makhachev on top of Charles Oliveira.
Right.
Just not necessarily putting out a lot of damage on him, but nullifying him, keeping him still. And just as time passes, Makhachev takes him down. He's able to defend submissions and just kind of get ground and pound off where he can. I don't see a world in which Oliveira's on top doing with his jiu-jitsu skills. That for Islam is worst case scenario. But if this fight is spent for an extended time on the feet, I favor Oliveira. If the fight is spent on the ground with Oliveira on his back, I favor Makhachev. So there's areas where both guys can win. But I feel like if Oliveira doesn't catch him in a submission on the way down, it's going to be very hard to break the base and the posture of Makhachev.
In a recent interview, Dana White confirmed that Alexander Volkanovski is next in line for a lightweight title shot. Here's what Volkanovski had to say when he heard the news.
We hear Dana doing some interviews yesterday. He said even if you aren't the backup here and fill in, you are getting the winner. So like to actually hear that kind of put out there and confirmed, what does that do for you?
Man, it's good. It's good. That's obviously why I put myself in this position as well. Put it this way, I prepared for this. A lot of people thinking I'm just doing it just in case, and like just so it's not just so no one takes opportunity away from me. That's why I did do it, but I made sure I'm still prepared and ready. So we trained hard. Like I still put the work in. It was a limited camp, but I was even in the cast. I was training pretty hard, thinking that I reckon I will be going to Abu Dhabi. So I wanted my cardio to be up to scratch, and then as soon as it was off and as soon as I was allowed to have the contact, I got stuck into it, and I'm literally treating this as if I'm in camp. So it's good to hear that from the big boss, because again, this was my plans the whole time. I'm the type of guy that I'll do things so no one can take an opportunity away from me. I'll earn my spot no matter how I do it. I'll just make sure I earn it and not let anyone take it away from me. And it's good to hear from the big boss that he agrees with me.
Michael Bisping says that a win for Charles Oliveira over Islam Makhachev makes him the lightweight GOAT. Greatest lightweight of all time? I think that if Charles beats Islam this weekend, I think that belongs to Charles now. I really do. I think he will have surpassed him simply because he's taken out all the top contenders. And it's not Khabib's fault, but you can't deny the numbers, the momentum, and the history that Oliveira is making. Here's the case for Khabib. His record 29-0, 13-0 in the UFC, and he was one of the most dominant fighters that the UFC had ever seen. In 60 career rounds, this man only lost 2 rounds. One against Justin Gaethje, very, very close, and round 3 against McGregor, again, very, very close. Listen, we never saw him lose to anyone, and he was so dominant it's hard to imagine him losing to anyone. All we ever saw was him win and dominate people. But he retired at 32 years old after 3 title defenses and 2.5 years as champion of the world. That's fantastic, but if he had stuck around longer, would we have seen him lose the belt? Would we have seen him get challenged? We'll never know, and that is one of the real arguments for Khabib not being the pound-for-pound number 1. The reality is, the reason we asked the question is because he didn't stick around long enough, and we know why. It was a very honorable reason, but would he have beaten all these top contenders? He'd have beaten some of them, but would he have beaten Charles? We don't know. We can only imagine. In a recent video uploaded to his YouTube channel, Chael Sonnen debates whether or not Sean O'Malley will run through Petr Yan this weekend. Here's the clip.
Suga Sean versus Petr Yan. Guys, what does a win look like in that fight? I feel like these are vastly different fronts that both guys are fighting on. But I am asking you, what is a win for Sean? I mean, if Sean is just against the narrative about him, then all he has to do is go out there and compete, right? I'm asking, what if Sean wins a round? What if it's a close fight? Sean wins a round against the number 1 ranked guy who was the world champion. Wouldn't that take a pretty big dent into the discussion that Sean doesn't fight anybody tough and Sean doesn't have the skills? Wouldn't that be true? Now, here's another scenario. Sean's coach, Tim Welsh, came out, and Tim said that Sean has the ability to go right through Petr Yan. I believe he used the term manhandle him. But the point is, it's going to be a 15-minute fight. It's going to be 15 minutes of Sean winning. Sean O'Malley is one of the few guys that has a reach advantage, but knows how to use it. And to Tim's point, if Sean is to come out and start finding Yan early on, he just has to repeat that over and over again. And it would be very interesting if Sean did control him. It's not as though there's going to have to be some masterful game plan.
Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.